Hi, I'm Chantel Garcia, and I will be presenting case study 3. This is for course number SPCE 638, section 809. This is for Dr. Wendy Weller. The date is November 3rd, 2024, and my name is Chantel Garcia. All right, let's begin. First, I will be talking about the training of staff, and then I will end with the supporting of staff. I would like to begin with talking about behavioral skills training, and it's evidence based. There's this great book by Miltenberger about behavior modification. That's what it's based on, and another study about behavior modification in applied behavior analysis. I broke it down into 4 steps. They break it down into 4 steps, which is step 1, instruction. It could be written or verbal. Step 2, modeling of the skill. Step 3, rehearsal of the skill. And step 4, performance feedback. This falls into learning about performance monitoring, feedback, and reinforcement systems of staff, which is I5 of the task list. So where I work, we follow the behavior skills training model. We do step 1, observation, step 2, pairing and shadow trials. I will go into more of that in the next slides. Step 3, running session with feedback, and step 4, the evaluation, which is a competency assessment. After each training session, trainers are expected to complete a trainer's checklist and review with the trainee. This is where we can determine when to accelerate to the next step, the trainee, and we can deliver feedback plus constructive feedback, which is things to improve. This falls under task lists, the BACB task list of I6 and I4. I4 is developing tactics for training staff to competently perform assessment and intervention procedures, and I6, which is develop a functional assessment approach to identify variables affecting personnel performance. First, I would like to talk about treatment integrity and validity. So, validity can be measured by visual analysis of data, holding meetings for feasibility of programs and behavior modification updates, and ongoing training according to IOA data. If it is less than 85%, then we need to go back at the data and look if there's some kind of comparison. We have to figure out what's wrong. It could be a therapist implementing a program incorrectly, or there's not enough staff to uphold the integrity of the procedures. So that would mean that something would have to change. If the behavior, according to the data, is going the way I want it to go, then I wouldn't have to change anything. Treatment integrity is measured by inter-observer agreements during evaluations and supervisions by the BCBA, and this occurs monthly. We have monthly validity meetings and monthly treatment integrity evaluations for every single therapist for every single client a month. Step 1 is about observation. The trainee observes the client's environment, the client's programs, and how the therapist interacts with the client. How does the therapist build rapport and pair with this child? Excuse me. The trainee also observes the therapist implementing programs. This is good for the trainee to listen on we call it the SD voice, but their instructional control, their instructional voice, and how they do programs. So this is step 2, and it is about pairing and doing shadow trials. The trainee observes the therapist implementing programs in depth. The trainee also pairs with the client during their breaks, and they do targets that was previously modeled from the observed therapist. I wrote what a trainee goes through during the step 2 portion of their training, and usually they are given verbal or written instructions on how to implement the skill acquisition target, and then they watch the therapist or the trainer implement how to do it, and then the trainee implements, and then after that they are given feedback is ongoing at this point until the competency assessment. So at this point, this is step 3, running session with feedback. At this point, the trainee runs sessions while receiving constant feedback from the trainer. The trainer takes data at the same time as the trainee and double checks the data input. To me, I think it's kind of like a mini IOA. We're figuring out, hey, did you get this? Because I got this, and then we're just gonna keep giving them feedback. Like, okay, this was an independent response. Does it reflect in the data? The data is very important. Performance feedback is ongoing until the evaluation. And of course, we're doing trainers' checklists after each. I forgot to tell you that each step is 1 session. And if they need more, then they can repeat that step for another session. We are at step 4, which is evaluation, and it is basically a competency assessment. This is to determine whether or not this trainee can work with this client independently and with good procedural integrity. I have the checklist over here. We call it a checklist, but it's the technician evaluation checklist. That's what we call it. And you need to have at least a 90%. If it's less than a 90%, then that means that we need to do a little bit more training and then do a reevaluation. The competency assessment is broken down into 4 parts. Implementation of programs, how is the environment set up, increasing appropriate behaviors, such as like, are they delivering informal preference assessments to increase motivation? Are they giving appropriate reinforcement for appropriate responses? And recording maladaptive behaviors and following the behavior intervention plan. The most updated behavior intervention plan and time management. Are they able to clean up after themselves? Make the environment as clean and as distraction free as possible? Are they monitoring reinforcement breaks appropriately? We also have inter-observer agreement, and it's based on percent correct. We have one for problem behavior data, and we have one for programs. I put trial implemented correct. The trial implemented correct is divided by total trials implemented, and they need to have at least a 90% accuracy. And then we have a problem behavior data inputted correct divided by total sum of problem behavior data, and they need to have at least an 85% accuracy. Supporting staff. My company does a really good job at supporting staff, and this is a really good way of modeling good leadership skills. We support staff by building rapport. We do daily check-ins, like, how are you? How was your weekend? Did you get your I don't know, did you get your car fixed? And they had talked about getting their car fixed 5 days ago. Um, we always say hello and goodbye to each other in the halls. We give vocal behavior specific praise. We also have radios that we do shout outs. It's just by supporting staff, they really do a good job at making sure that we have a supportive environment, and that we work together for the best interest of the client. Um, our supervisors also have an open door policy. Um, all of their doors remain open unless there is a meeting, um, to make us feel welcome and that we can come in and speak, whether it be positive or negative. They make sure that we are always communicating, and they are open to it. This falls under determining what function based strategies to improve personnel performance. Um, oh, another thing too, our supervisors always ask us, "Oh, what do you need? How can we make you feel better?" They really uh, promote mental health because they understand how taxing ABA can be. We also have monthly meetings for each client, with the RBT teams discussing the client progress, their behavior modifications, if there are any updates, and we are open to any questions and suggestions at the end of each meeting. And this is to brainstorm with staff about what's feasible for program implementation. And if there's any questions on how to do it, we also do role playing if there's something new. And then there's ongoing employee evaluations, by the behavior analyst, and they will determine whether or not there needs to be more training or just leave it as it is because the data is reflecting that the program is working. Thank you for coming to my presentation. This was a very interesting case study, and I'm grateful for the opportunity. Have a great day.